This tank is the AMX 5120. This is a French Tier 9 heavy tank. It's an autoloader and the map is Lakeville. One thing about the French tanks is in general, the higher tier French tanks like Tier 5 and above are a lot of fun to play. I'm not saying that they're the best tanks, but I'm saying if you only play one tech tree, French is definitely something you should consider. There's a lot of autoloaders. They tend to be somewhat fast and nothing else. Okay, so I found a sniping position. I almost never play in town. I used to play in town years ago, but I look for more creative positions. I went after this guy because I had an autoloader. I thought I'd get some sneaky shots on him. Oh, see what that guy did? He made it difficult for me to shoot at him. So I unloaded 1,200 and received 500 in damage. It wasn't a perfect trade. It was in my favor, but I did miss a shot. We could have taken out that AMX earlier. I'm going to show you a sniping position. Guess what happens when you park over here? Look at what happens. You get a very safe shot on enemy tanks where you can easily hide, even though he did hit me. I should have rotated my tank the other way to get away from him. But what's important is that you're pretty much guaranteed that enemy tanks are going to show up over here. So that's the reason why this is a good position. Now I'm in a situation where I got one shot left. Should I reload or not? I screwed that up. Now, as I said, if I had rotated my tank the other way when I reversed, it would have put it into a side scraping position. And instead, he hit my frontal armor. And these tanks are firing, all the tanks are firing APCR and heat rounds at me. And I'm not doing that back. I could easily start doing that back to them. But, I'm a good player. I don't want to use the expensive rounds. I'm happy using the regular rounds. But you're going to find a lot of people like to use those rounds, which means that you got to really be on your guard for people that do that. Nowadays, if I come across a tank that's using heat rounds and APCR and I don't want to do so, sometimes I just leave and go fight somewhere else. Oh, it's too bad I died. Okay, so I got 1,600 damage, 433 spot. But what's important is that I learned this spotting position, this sniping position. And it's like I said, it's easy to hide. You are close. You can hit side armor, which means you can use lower pen rounds, and you're pretty much guaranteed that tanks are going to show up and try to cross that area. This tank is the IS. This is a Russian Tier 7 heavy tank. The map is Glacier. You're going to see a sniping position you can play on this map, but in the beginning of the game, keep your eye on that Lynx 6x6. You're going to see some interesting scouting. I've actually used the same technique on Overlord and on the frontline map at Cap A, but watch what he does. I'm setting up a sniping position. I'm not aware of what that Lynx is doing, but look at that. He just jumped over, did 349 damage to himself, and of course he's going to learn his lesson and not do it again in about 5 seconds. And here he goes to not do it again. And to not take damage again. So he took a lot of damage. He lost like 75% of his hit points because of what he did. 60%. Okay, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. You notice I used the auto aim. I waited for the enemy tank to be driving towards me before I hit him. And he goes and does it again. Maybe he doesn't have the good suspension. I don't think this is going to be the sniping position. Let's keep that fast forward going. I'm going to advance it. Okay, so I decided to climb up here. I still have my full hit points. I've probably been up here 2 or 3 times. But look at what you got. Look at that. You got a beautiful view. So if you have a weak gun, or if you're a low tier tank, or if you've got great gun depression, or a new Swedish medium tank with hydraulic suspension, this is where you're going to want to play. So I shot where I shot because I was obviously shooting for the engine or for the fuel tanks. And obviously I haven't mastered this position. This is the first time that I've been up here, perhaps since the map came out. And I'm going to have to learn the positions and how to master it. But as you can see, it's a very powerful position. I've already done 1390 damage. And I got suckered. It's no big deal. But this is a position that you might want to try. This tank is the M48 Patton. This is an American Tier 10 medium tank. The map is Redshire. I'm going to show you a sniping position that you can use on this map. Notice I'm driving up through the river. I used to always go through the river, but you know, they make changes to the maps to take away the positions that I like to play. There used to be a great position right here. But now it's a little bit more difficult. And the reason why is because you cannot spot for yourself. You need an ally spotting for you. If you have an ally spotting for you, you can sit here and snipe, and it's great. But before, you'd be able to spot on your own. So let's see if we got any good luck coming through. This might not be the sniping position. It might be possible that there's another position in the game. I don't like to brawl. I don't like to use APCR. I'd rather use AP, which means you got to hit side armor. But look at this. Look at that E50M. Look at where his gun's pointing. T30, weak armor on a T30. The problem is I think you can get hit from the rear, from people sniping across the valley, because I have had failure here. You're gonna be spotted. Artillery can probably hit you. I remember that I had bad luck sometimes over here. Took too long to fire the gun. I got 2 repair kits, no problem. Look at that, they quickly depleted my hit points. And my team is kind of reversing. You know, I want to go for that Lance and see because he's got low hit points. And you can see that Uda sniped me from across the valley. But this is a sniping position that I'm working on. I believe if you have a low profile tank, you're going to have good luck here. Maybe with those new Swedish medium tanks with the hydraulic suspension, you might have great games over here. This tank is the Foch B. This is a Tier 10 French tank destroyer. The map is Mines. This is a great tank. You're going to be very happy playing a Foch B or any of the top tier French tanks. From Tier 6 and above, the French tanks are some of the best tanks in the game, or I'm going to say the most fun tanks in the game. This is a 6-shot autoloader. I prefer the 3-shot. There's obviously advantages and disadvantages. The 3-shot is good if you can have accurate shots. The 6-shot is good if your opportunities are going to be constantly changing, or if you can nail somebody and just unload 6 shots. Okay, so I'm always trying to find ways to shoot through the town. And these guys are in a position that I like to play. What most people don't know is that you've got this rear position over here that you can play. And if somebody's spotting for you, you're golden, except for the fact that I obviously got spotted on the way there and already got nailed. You got to knock that house down. See, there's a house right there, which is the reason why I can't hit that tank. Oh, he's out of the game. So sorry. Okay, so you got a choice. You know, you got to reload. Unfortunately, I didn't hit the reload yet. You see, I was spotted. Trying to line up another shot on these tanks. I know that there's a way to get through there. Just got to find it. There's different ways to shoot through those buildings, and it depends in part on where you are and in part on where the enemy is. It looks like he's going to cross a gap right there. Really not sure. Don't know why I didn't reload. Don't know why I'm not doing anything right now. Okay, there I am going for the reload. It is an arty safe. You can see that the arty is shooting in that position. You know what? I'm going to fast forward. I only got 386 damage that's been reported. Look at that. I see the bright side of an E100. You just got to find it. Oh! He turned his gun. He got lucky. I got 2 damaging hits out of 6. But you know what? It was 840 damage. It's actually pretty good. And it softens up the enemy. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to go to the higher position. Got spotted, which really sucks. And I took a hit. I guess my armor is mega strong. Looks like that building is now gone, so I don't have to worry about clearing that building. Only an accurate shot's going to damage that. And you got that Object 907 that you got to watch out for. He could come around and do some damage to me, even though it looks like he's not going to make it. If I reposition, I can hit that tank. He thinks he's perfectly safe where he is. Missed an easy shot. Okay, so I'm up to 2100 damage and 2200 blocked. Ideally, the right thing to do is to go spot. There's obviously tanks right in front of me. I could have gotten some spotting damage. They're not spotting me. Now it's about time to leave the position. I'm not going to get anything done here. I've had a lot of great games here, and the reason why I came here is because one day I was bottom tier. There were like 14 tier 9 tanks, and I had a tier 8 tank. I was the only tier 8 tank, and I was PO'd about it. So I said, okay, I got to come up with a plan, and that's why I came to this position. Let's move on to the next video. This tank is the Waffenträger Auf Panzerwagen 4. This is a German tier 9 tank destroyer, and the map is Siegfried Line. Now you notice that there's a tree right in front of me, and you can knock that tree down, and you can use it to spot right through the center, And this position is good because not only can you keep an eye on what's coming through the center of the map, but you can keep an eye on the south where my allied light tank is, which is the K6 area. So I can really cover two different flanks from this position. And you really don't want that vehicle to be there. It's not going to be to your advantage. It's only going to help the enemy. There's an example of where I might have a shot on that Primo Victoria. And I have high explosive rounds loaded, which is a good idea. I might be able to get some nice damage on his side armor. You do notice that there's a lot of enemies in the northern part of the map, and I see that. And when you see that, all you're going to think is that, well, no one's going to show up here in the middle. But then again, they might. So let's speed up. Nothing. I also seem to recall that I thought that the enemy was definitely going to lose this game because they were just playing, they were playing way too slowly. Okay, so now I see a lot of red dots here in the center. They gave up trying to go over that hill. So they're trying a new position. That KV-4, he's not going to like my HE rounds. Did 163 on the standard B. Unfortunately, I left him alive. Oh, look at that. How sweet. So that was 238 damage on the KV-4. Let's look at the penetration here. 246 penetration. That's actually a little low. 246 is nothing to brag about for tier 9. You really want better penetration. Oh, that's too bad. It's possible I just don't have the higher gun. You notice that I'm changing the angle of my tank because I wasn't playing with the proper style. That is not fun. I wasn't playing, I should have had the rear of my tank coming out, so I corrected that. Oh, that sucks. So I had a lot of missed shots. Don't be dismayed. This is a great position. Now I thought, okay, I'm going to go further back so that they don't spot me. Just can't catch a break. That's why you got to use HE rounds. HE rounds would have damaged him. Okay, so 429 damage and I was not spotted. I mean, the guy should have learned his lesson. Oh, come on. The guy should have learned his lesson by now. So I kind of misjudged his position. I just assumed he wouldn't be able to hit me. Unfortunately, my team has the advantage. The score is 7-2. I have played this position in other sniping videos. It's a very powerful position. Not only do you cover both flanks, but you can also cover the cap, and you can offer some support for your SPGs. Okay, so the score is 10-2. You got to chase down those remaining hit points. Let's move on to the next video. This tank is a WZ-111 1-4. This is a Chinese Tier 9 heavy tank, and the map is Westfield. I am going to show you a sniping position that you can play on this map. I'd like to state that this is one of the best tanks in the game. It's not an overpowered tank, but it's a very, very well-designed tank. And if you look at the IS-6 and the IS-3 and the IS-5 and the T-10 and all the other tanks like the IS-4 and the 113, this tank is actually it's on the upper it's on the above average side. The IS-6 is no longer a good tank, and the 112 was never a good tank. So my goal is to find a good sniping position. The idea is, you see where the tortoise is on the minimap? I want to hit that tortoise. So the question is, how do you do that without getting killed? Okay, so I did set the STI. It's actually ST1 on fire. It's a Roman numeral 1. I did 1,222 damage. Trying to figure out how to hit that tortoise and the enemy WZ. It might take a bit. I'm going to say that there's definitely a way to do it, but it's difficult to do it at the start of the game when you got tanks like T-95s coming out and doing massive amounts of damage. He hit me for 754 damage. I probably could have gone in and hit him again, but ideally I want him to come after me. He's not doing himself any favors by hiding in there. If he comes out, we're going to destroy him. Okay, so my desire to find that tortoise and the object 263 is not going to be fulfilled. I got slammed by that T-95. He's a little bit smarter and more aggressive than I thought. That is not good. You want to avoid reversing. Even though he did that damage to me, I did get 700 or 800 spotting damage on him. Missed an easy shot. I know that my allies are trained on him. I know we've got artillery in the game. He's a better target than I am. You know, my artillery is more likely to go after him than his artillery is likely to go after me. So as I was saying, you don't want to reverse away from him because it's just too slow unless you have a wheeled vehicle. Ideally, you want to go forward as you run away from danger with your tail between your legs. Okay, so the sniping position I wanted to do is no longer applicable because those tanks are now dead. Can't see what's there. I did get 1550 damage. You are going to find slow tanks in the town. The area that I was playing, you're going to find the T-95, you're going to find the Jag Tiger, you're going to find the Mouse, the Type 5 Heavy, because slow tanks need to avoid artillery. If there's a lot of artillery in the game, you're more likely to find slow tanks in that town. Okay, so it looks like we're beyond the scope of sniping. Let's move on to the next video.